the best gift that changed a life, an inspiring story of Christmas and faith. Christmas is a season filled with twinkling lights, festive carols, and the warmth of family gatherings. For many, it's a time of joy, celebration, and the eager anticipation of unwrapping presents piled high under a beautifully decorated tree. We often measure the success of the holiday by the size of the gifts or the grandeur of the feast. But sometimes the most profound and life-altering gifts don't come wrapped in shiny paper or tied with a fancy bow. They arrive quietly, unexpectedly, and often in the most humble of packages. This is a story about such a gift, one that didn't just brighten a single Christmas morning, but illuminated an entire lifetime with the enduring light of faith and hope. It's the story of a young boy named Leo and a simple, worn-out Bible that would become the cornerstone of his existence. Leo grew up in a small, forgotten town nestled in the heart of the countryside, a place where winters were harsh and resources were scarce. His family, though rich in love, struggled to make ends meet. His father worked tirelessly at the local mill, his hands calloused and his face perpetually etched with weariness. His mother, a woman of gentle spirit and quiet strength, stretched every dollar and every scrap of food to ensure her children never went to bed hungry. Christmas in their modest home wasn't about extravagant presents. It was about the precious gift of togetherness, a shared meal, and the stories they would tell around the crackling fire of their small wood stove. As a child, Leo understood their circumstances. He never pined for the expensive toys he saw advertised on the rare occasions he watched television at a neighbor's house. He knew his parents gave him everything they possibly could, and their love was more valuable than any store-bought item. Yet, a quiet longing simmered within his young heart. He yearned for something more, something to hold on to, something that would explain the deep, unspoken questions that stirred within his soul. He saw the flicker of hope in his mother's eyes when she prayed, and the unwavering resilience in his father's spirit, and he wondered about the source of their strength. The Christmas he turned 10 was particularly difficult. A severe blizzard had swept through the region just weeks before, shutting down the mill for several days and cutting into his father's already meager wages. The air in their small house was thick with a quiet tension, the unspoken worry of how they would manage. Leo overheard his parents whispering late at night, their voices low and strained, discussing bills and the rising cost of food. He knew that this year there would likely be no gifts at all, not even the small, handmade ones his mother was so skilled at creating. His heart ached, not for himself, but for the sadness he saw etched on his parents' faces. On Christmas Eve, the family gathered as they always did. A small, scraggly pine tree, salvaged from the edge of their property, stood in the corner, decorated with a few handmade ornaments from years past. The scent of cinnamon and pine filled the air, a small comfort against the backdrop of their worries. After a simple supper of potato soup and day-old bread, his mother brought out a small, cloth-wrapped object and placed it gently in Leo's lap. "This isn't much, my love," she said, her voice soft and tinged with a hint of apology. "But it's from the heart." Leo carefully unwrapped the worn fabric. Inside lay an old, leather-bound book. The cover was cracked and faded, the gold lettering on the spine barely legible. It was his grandmother's Bible, a family heirloom that had been passed down through generations. The pages were thin and delicate, filled with his grandmother's spidery handwriting in the margins, notes, prayers, and reflections from a lifetime of faith. He ran his fingers over the embossed cover, a sense of reverence washing over him. It wasn't a toy car or a new set of building blocks, but in that moment, holding that ancient book, Leo felt a profound sense of peace. That night, unable to sleep, Leo opened the Bible. He had been to church with his family, of course, and had heard the stories of Adam and Eve, Noah's Ark, and the birth of Jesus. But he had never explored the scriptures for himself. His fingers, guided by a sense of curiosity he couldn't explain, turned the thin pages until he found the Gospel of Luke. He began to read the familiar story of Christmas, but this time it felt different. The words weren't just a tale from long ago. They seemed to speak directly to his own situation. He read of Mary and Joseph, a young couple facing uncertainty, traveling a long and difficult road with no place to rest. He read of a humble birth in a lowly manger, not in a grand palace, surrounded by livestock instead of royalty. In their poverty and their struggle, Leo saw a reflection of his own family's circumstances. He realized that the Son of God had entered the world not in wealth and splendor, but in the most humble and vulnerable of conditions. This realization struck him with the force of a revelation. It meant that God understood hardship. God understood what it was like to be poor, to be overlooked, and to worry about the future. For the first time, the Christmas story wasn't just about a baby in a manger. It was about a God who chose to enter into human suffering, to be with the marginalized and the forgotten. A powerful sense of comfort enveloped Leo. He wasn't alone in his family's struggle. God was with him, right there in their small, drafty house, just as he had been in that stable in Bethlehem so many years ago. The Bible was no longer just a book. It was a letter of love and reassurance, written directly to his heart. From that night forward, the Bible became Leo's constant companion. Every evening, he would sit by the fire and read, losing himself in the ancient stories of faith, betrayal, suffering, and redemption. He read the Psalms and found words for the deep emotions he couldn't articulate, his fears, his hopes, his gratitude. He read the stories of David, a simple shepherd boy who became a king, and of Moses, who led his people out of bondage, and he began to believe that God could use ordinary people to do extraordinary things. As Leo grew from a boy into a young man, the lessons he learned from that old Bible shaped his character and guided his path. He developed a deep and abiding faith that became the bedrock of his life. When his father fell ill and could no longer work at the mill, it was Leo, now a teenager, who stepped up. He took on odd jobs around town, mowing lawns, fixing fences, delivering groceries, working tirelessly to support his family. He did it not with a sense of burden, but with a spirit of service, remembering the words of Jesus about loving and serving others. His quiet strength and unwavering optimism became a source of comfort for his parents, a reflection of the hope he had found within those sacred pages. Years later, after he had finished school and built a successful life for himself, far from that small, forgotten town, Leo never forgot the gift that had set him on his course. He became a man known for his immense generosity and compassion. He founded a charitable organization dedicated to helping families in poverty, providing them with food, shelter, and educational opportunities. He often shared his own story, telling people that his work was not born of his own goodness, but was a response to the incredible grace he had received. He would often visit his hometown, now older and with a family of his own. On one Christmas visit, he sat with his aging mother in the same small living room. The old wood stove had been replaced by a modern heater, but the warmth in the room felt the same. He pulled out the worn, leather-bound Bible, its pages now even more fragile, its cover held together with tape. "You know, Mom," he said, his voice thick with emotion, "of all the gifts I've ever received in my life, this one was the best. It didn't just change a Christmas. It changed my entire life." His mother smiled, her eyes glistening with tears. "I know, my dear," she whispered. "Faith is the only gift that keeps on giving, long after all the others have faded away." The story of Leo and his grandmother's Bible is a powerful reminder of the true meaning of Christmas. It teaches us that the greatest gifts are not those that can be bought in a store, but those that touch the soul and transform the heart. It's a testament to the enduring power of faith to provide light in times of darkness, strength in times of weakness, and hope in the face of despair. In a world often preoccupied with material possessions and fleeting pleasures, Leo's story invites us to look for the gifts that truly matter, the gifts of love, of hope, and of a faith that can turn a simple, worn-out book into the greatest treasure a person could ever receive. It reminds us that the most profound change often begins with the quietest whisper of grace, a gift that, once accepted, continues to enrich and guide a life forever. If you enjoyed this beautiful story and reflection, don't forget to share it with anyone you think might find it useful. Give the video a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new videos and new reflections for your life. See you in the next video. See you soon.